Despite not having the same level of superpowers as some of her otherworldly co-workers, Natasha Romanoff, better known to audiences as Black Widow, is one butt-kicking hero. Before getting into some of her best moments, fair warning that this video will feature some spoilers, including major parts of Avengers Endgame, so watch at your own risk. You're watching The Avenger, and today we're breaking down and ranking Black Widow's most powerful moments. Going undercover. We already know that Natasha is one of the most skilled spies there is, but this took things to a whole new level. During Captain America Winter Soldier, we're treated to an awesomely one-sided fight scene featuring what appears to be a sweet old woman. The old lady beats the crap out of a bunch of Hydra agents, including throwing a stun object at one soldier in particular. It was a bit eyebrow-raising to see, until the digital mask was removed and the old woman was revealed to be Romanoff, better known to fans as Black Widow. Not only do we get our first glimpse at some of the impressive technology utilized by S.H.I.E.L.D., but we gotta see just how lethal Black Widow can be in a room full of bad guys. For those watching, it was a bit confusing at first to see a seemingly harmless older person cause such devastation. It made us wonder if all World Security Council members were well versed in the martial arts. Once the disguise was unveiled though, it made a heck of a lot more sense. Beating up Happy. Black Widow makes her on-screen debut in Iron Man 2, but her persona isn't revealed until later on in the film. In her introduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we meet her as Natalie Rushman, a replacement for Pepper when control of Stark Industries is being transferred. This was an obvious alias to hardcore fans who know the comic books or follow casting news. The fake identity became even more evident when she gets into the ring with Happy Hogan, Tony Stark's lovable chauffeur. Happy's gloved hand gets a bit too close to Natalie's face while attempting to teach her a lesson. Her reflexes kick in as she whips him to the ground with one of her soon-to-be patented leg scissor takedowns. It was pretty impressive, especially from an executive assistant there to help Tony's business. Later on in the film, she walks into Randy's Donuts after Tony's birthday party, and it's glaringly obvious that something is up with this so-called Natalie Rushman. It's revealed that she's actually Natasha Romanoff, or the Black Widow, as audiences collectively shouted, "Aha!" Black Widow vs. Hawkeye. During the first Avengers movie, Hawkeye is taken over and controlled by Loki in the Mind Stone. He manages to infiltrate the helicarrier, where he's met by Black Widow. The pair square off, despite reluctance from Black Widow. After all, these two are close friends, and she doesn't want to hurt her friend. We still don't know the extent of their relationship, but even at the time, we can tell he means a lot to her. It's a difficult spot to be in, as he's technically not thinking for himself. Much later, during Captain America Civil War, the two battle once again. The movie is notorious for having heroes square off against one another, and during the infamous airport fight scene, things are no different for these two. However, we never really get to see who gets the better of who. Before a winner is decided, Wanda, or the Scarlet Witch, breaks up the fight. Despite the lack of a conclusion, it was certainly fun to see these two former S.H.I.E.L.D. operatives go head-to-head in combat. Aunt Natasha. Speaking of the relationship between Black Widow and Hawkeye, it's later revealed just how close the pair really is. So much so, in fact, that Natasha is called Auntie Nat by Hawkeye's family. Yep, it's revealed that Hawkeye has a secret family which he keeps safe on a farm. The rest of the Avengers had no clue, but Natasha clearly did, so much so that they even have an endearing name for her. This is important for a number of reasons, but most notably is the running motherly theme. We learned that Natasha was sterilized on the day of her graduation from the Red Room in order to make her a more effective killer without the worry of possibly getting pregnant and having children. She tells this to Bruce Banner in a pretty sad and regretful tone, explaining, "It's effective." This is an important moment that reveals her sense of shame and regret. This makes her surprising relationship with Clint and his family all the more powerful, seeing as she'll never have a family of her own. The hallway fight scene. Despite spending most of Iron Man 2 undercover as Natalie Rushman, Black Widow still finds her time to shine in this movie. Upon revealing her true identity, Black Widow infiltrates Hammer Industries. There, she swiftly takes out a whole slew of male security officers, all within the confines of a single narrow hallway. Meanwhile, in another room, Happy Hogan, played by Jon Favreau, was struggling just to stay afoot. It was a stark contrast, showing the ineptitude of Happy versus the sheer awesomeness of Natasha. This was the first time she got an opportunity to truly show off her skills, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. Despite mixed reviews about Iron Man 2 as a movie, there's no denying the brilliance of this scene in particular. The Hulk Whisperer. Despite rumors that a relationship would sprout between Natasha and Hawkeye, it was actually Bruce Banner that ended up catching the spy's eye. This was an interesting deviation from the original comics, as the pair never had a relationship prior. Despite a turbulent and often confusing relationship between the two heroes, Natasha becomes somewhat of a Hulk Whisperer in the process. She's the only one who can calm him down and talk to him without getting smashed into oblivion. During Avengers Age of Ultron, after just ripping apart an army, Black Widow is able to calm Hulk down by singing him a lullaby, as the team called it. This again plays into the whole motherly theme that seems to be constant for the character. This tiny woman is able to subdue the giant green rage monster and put him at ease with a gentle caress of the hand. It's a lovely moment that gives her role in the franchise even more value. It proves that not only is she a trained killer capable of immense destruction, but she also holds the key to one of the most powerful and dangerous beings in the universe. It shows the duality of the character, proving that a trained assassin can also have feelings and an emotional side as well. The chair fight. The anticipation leading up to the first Avengers movie was high. This was supposed to be the first time we got to see all of Earth's mightiest heroes in one film. Yet, the first time we see Natasha Romanoff since Iron Man 2, she's tied up to a chair, being held hostage and interrogated by a Russian officer and some henchmen. While it seems that she's in grave danger, that couldn't be further from the truth. After receiving a phone call from Phil Coulson, she reveals that things are not as they seem. She confidently states, "This moron is giving me everything," before instigating a daring escape and kicking butt all over the place. The majority of her attack is done while still tied to the chair, making it that much more impressive. This scene solidified her as one of the most awesome characters in the franchise. Despite being tied up and held against her will, she proved that she's always in control, even when it doesn't look that way. Her ability to play the victim and wait patiently until it's time to attack is just another added aspect to her incredible repertoire. Taking down Hydra. While this may not seem like the biggest deal, mainly because it didn't have the same level of action as some of the fight scenes on this list, it was nonetheless incredibly powerful. One may expect her to do the right thing, seeing as it is her job, but leaking every S.H.I.E.L.D. secret and Hydra secret onto the internet for the whole world to see was incredibly brave of her. By releasing all the information, she basically gave herself up. By leaking those documents, she let the world know her secrets, including where she's from, who trained her, what she did before coming to America to work for S.H.I.E.L.D., and every little dirty detail in between. Suddenly, that info was available to anyone, anywhere. While it may not seem like much, this Captain America Winter Soldier moment was a massive sacrifice. As we'll learn even more soon, Natasha is always willing to sacrifice herself for the greater good. Tricking the Master Trickster. Anytime a mere mortal can trick Loki, the god of mischief, that deserves to rank high on the list. Much like the chair scene from earlier, Natasha utilizes her seemingly weak and vulnerable appearance to make Loki lower his guard and divulge important information. She originally shows up to confront Loki and ask him a couple of questions. Throughout the course of her questioning, she lets Loki believe that he's getting the better of her. She even turns on the waterworks, making his aggressive speech to her all the more believable. He gets so worked up, he accidentally reveals his plan to unleash the Hulk. The moment he slips up, she turns off the act and storms off, alerting her fellow Avengers of the plan. If it weren't for this vital information, things could have gone very different in the original Avengers movie. Natasha used her ability to convey weakness and vulnerability to her own advantage, proving once again that she's always in control, even when it looks like she isn't. Endgame. This brings us to Black Widow's most powerful moment, which comes to us in Avengers Endgame, a powerful movie in its own right. In the film, the Avengers go back in time to collect all the Infinity Stones, before Thanos can get to them in an attempt to undo the snap from Avengers Infinity War. Black Widow and Hawkeye are tasked with retrieving the Soul Stone, unfamiliar with the daunting cost of obtaining it. You'll recall in Infinity War, Thanos learned the hard way that in order to procure the stone, you must sacrifice someone you love. He ultimately tosses his daughter Gamora off the skyscraping cliff and is granted the stone. This time around, when Hawkeye and Black Widow learn of the grave cost, they argue over who will be the one to sacrifice themselves. In the end, it's Black Widow who gives herself up so that the Soul Stone can be acquired, and the Avengers can ultimately restore half of humanity that was wiped out. Much like her leaking her own information, she was more than willing to sacrifice herself for the greater good. Only this time, it was her final sacrifice, one there is no coming back from. This is undeniably Black Widow's most powerful and most important moment in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. She played an integral part in saving the world once again, and her role as one of the best butt-kicking original Avengers will sorely be missed moving forward. There are major rumors circulating about a standalone Black Widow movie, which can still happen. The movie is supposed to be an origin story explaining her background, therefore her untimely demise wouldn't be an issue. Here's hoping we see Black Widow on the big screen again soon. So there you have it, Black Widow's most powerful moments. Do you agree with our list? Is there anything we missed that we should have included? Let us know down in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. And before you go, make sure to hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up too. Thanks for watching The Avenger.